Hey everyone, in this video we are going to solve this problem Roman to integer. So let's start solving this problem. First thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a dictionary that will store all the values for different symbols. So let's just call it symbol values, and in this I'm going to have I corresponding to 1, V for 5, then X for 10, and then let me just paste it a few times. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that we are going to iterate through the whole string that is provided to us. For example, let's look through this example. We have this given string in this test case. So I'm going to write the value of each character along with it. So the first one here we have this 4000, and then the next character is C, which is 400. Again we have M 4000, then we have X representing 10, then C for 100, then we have I for 1 and V for 5. So what we are going to do is that we are going to look for the current character, and then we will also look for the character that comes before it. So what we are going to do is that we are going to start from the first character. So let's just add the value of the first character, and we will have one another variable. Let's just call it answer, and this is going to store the total value of this string. So let me just initialize this to 0. Now what we are going to do is that initially within the answer we are going to store the value. Initially we are over here, so we will store the value at the value 1000 to answer. Okay, so this will become 1000, 0 plus 1000, so it is 1000. Then what we are going to do is that we are going to look for the character that is before this. If the character before the current character is smaller than the M, then we are going to subtract its value. But since this is the first character and there is nothing before it, we are not subtracting anything from it, so it is simply 1000. Now what is going to happen is that the value of answer is 1000, and now we are on C, so it is going to be 1000 plus 100. Okay, so that is 1100, and we will going to look the character before it, which is M, but M is greater than C, so we are not going to subtract its value, so it is 1100. Okay, now we were here. After adding the value of the C, now we get to the third character, which is again 1000. So at this point the value of answer should be 1100 plus 1000, and this is going to be 2100, and we are going to look for a character before it. So the character before this M was C, so it was a small character. What we are doing is that we are iterating through every character, and then when we are adding its value, so now we have realized that the character that was before M, it is a smaller one, and we were adding value, so its value should not be added. So the value of that character, which is 100, should be subtracted. And then again, since it is on the, it was added earlier, we have to subtract it. The first subtraction is done because we are adding every character, but this should not be added. So that is why we subtracted its values so that the total value added for this C is 0. Now we also have to subtract the value of this C because it comes before. So now it becomes 1900. Now let's come to the next character. So at this time we have 1900 as the value of answer, and in this we are going to add the value of x, which is going to be 10. Let's look at the character before, which is m, so it is greater. Since it is greater, we are not going to subtract anything. So let's move forward. Now we are at the C. So the value is going to be 1910 plus 100. Okay, so that is, so this is going to be 2110. Now here we can see that x is smaller than C. So that is why we did a mistake by adding x in our current answer. So what we have to do is that we have to subtract it once because we added it earlier, and again since it comes on the left we have to subtract it again. So within the answer we have to subtract 10 two times. So this will be 2110 minus 10 minus 10. Okay, so that is equals to 1900. 1990. Now let's move to the next item, which is 1. Okay, so the character before 1 is 100. So we are not going to subtract anything, but we are just going to add 1 to it. So it is going to be 1990 plus 1, 1991. Now in this next step, finally we are at 5. So what we are going to do is that we are going to add 5 to our current answer. 1991 plus 5. So this is going to be 1996. But here at 5 we realize that the earlier character is actually a smaller one and we added it earlier. So we have to subtract it once because it was not supposed to be added. Also, since it comes before 5, the smaller character is coming before the greater one, that is why it has to be subtracted once also. So the final answer is 1994. Okay, so now let's just code this. I'm taking two another variable which are current, that does represent the current character, and previous that represents the previous character. So initially since we are on the in the string s, we are at the first index, that is why we do not have anything as a previous. So I will just set it to 0. Now for any character C in s, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the current value, which is going to be the symbol value of this current character, which is C. And then what we are going to do is that we are going to check if the current value is greater than the previous value. Okay, so if the current value is greater than the previous value, like here in this case where we have, if we have current as 5 and the previous is 1, in that case what we have to do is that we have to subtract the value of the previous twice. So answer will be answer minus 2 times previous. Also, every time we are iterating through this characters within the S, first we are adding the value of the current character to the answer. So, and here, if the value of the current is greater than the previous, in that case we have to subtract it twice. Now after this iteration, since we have moved one step ahead, so now the previous will be equal to the current character. Finally, we are going to return our answer. Let's try running the test cases. So there was a runtime error because we had some mistake in this variable naming. Let's again run the test cases. Okay, so it is accepted. Now I will submit the solution. Okay, so our solution is successfully submitted. So the runtime complexity of our solution is going to be big of n because we are iterating through this string only once, and all of these are constant time operations. They are simple if statements and some assignments. So this is a these are constant time operations within this particular loop. So there is only one loop, and that loop is also running for the length of s. So if the length of this given string s is n, then the time complexity of our solution is big O of n. And here we have only allocated memory for this dictionary and some variables, and all of this is constant memory. So the space complexity for our solution is big O of 1.